Hello friends, today we will discuss the maxim Volenti non fit injuria in detail. This maxim means to one who is willing, no harm is done. This maxim is a common law doctrine and provides a defense to the defendant in those cases where the plaintiff willingly enters into an activity even after knowing the risks involved and the injury that would happen as a result of that activity. In these situations, the plaintiff cannot bring a claim against the other party. Simply put, any injury that is suffered due to consent does not give a cause of action to the other party. This is considered as a complete defense because once voluntary or willingness is proven, then no case of action can be brought against the defendant. There are three elements to this maxim or this defense. Number one, the plaintiff should have knowledge of the danger involved. Number two, the plaintiff was in a position to predict the extent of danger or injury that would happen. And number three, the plaintiff voluntarily agreed to take the risk. Now, friends, here you will see that the consent of the plaintiff is very important. And to avail this defense, the defendant has to prove that the consent of the plaintiff was there and the consent was number one, free and not influenced in any way by the other party through coercion, fraud, compulsion, etc. The plaintiff consented to perform the act and consented either in an express or an implied manner. And number three, the consented act was lawful and was also executed in a lawful manner. Now let's get some clarity using a real life example. Let's suppose a person decides to go bungee jumping, which is an activity where a person voluntarily jumps from a very high platform while being secured and connected to a large cord. Now the person who is going bungee jumping, number one, they are aware of the danger. Number two, they can also anticipate the extent of danger or injury that can happen if things go wrong. And number three, they still voluntarily consent to enjoy the sport or take the jump. Now, if something goes wrong, then definitely no action can be brought against the defendant, and the defense of voluntary non-fit injuria would apply in favor of the defendant. However, if it is proven that the defendant acted negligently or was aware of a flaw in the cord or the apparatus and still either did not inform the person or deliberately concealed the information from them, then it can be said that the consent of the plaintiff was not voluntary and hence the defense of voluntary non-fit injuria will not come to the rescue of the defendant. And hence, to summarize here, the risks involved in an activity should be known to the plaintiff. And even after being able to perceive and anticipate the extent of damage that can happen, the plaintiff voluntarily consents to perform that action and agrees to suffer an injury. In such situations, the plaintiff cannot bring a claim against the defendant after they have suffered an injury. Now friends, along with voluntary non-fit injuria, there are two more defenses that are very popular with defendants. One is vis major. Now this is, of course, as you are aware, known as act of God. I have covered it in detail in previous video and I will share a link for your reference in the description box. And the second one is contributory negligence. In the case of contributory negligence, along with the defendant, the plaintiff is also responsible for the injury and damage that is caused to himself. In such cases, the damages or penalty that is imposed on the defendants is reduced depending upon the extent of his or her negligence. But since the defendant in this case, that is contributory negligence, is partially liable for the injury, it is not considered a complete defense. But voluntary non-fit injuria is a complete defense because it absolves the defendant completely from any liability provided the elements of consent and lawfulness are satisfied. So friends, I hope this video gave you a nice complete overview about the maxim and the defense and the tort law. Thank you so much for your time and I'll see you soon with another video. Till then, goodbye, take care and have a great day.